Good evening, and call to order for the regular board meeting for the Watchung Board of Education. Today is May 23rd, 2024, 7 p.m. May you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the meeting of the Board of Education, the Borough of Watchung. Please be advised that this and all meetings in the board are open to the public and media, consistent to the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Laws of 1975, and that advance notice required therein has been provided. This is a regular board meeting with the Board of Education of the Borough of Watchung, at which formal action may be taken. This meeting is being live streamed on the district website, where a recording of the meeting will also be posted. The public will have an opportunity to be heard, as shown on the agenda at points in the meeting, provided for the public to address the board. Recording and photographing, other than the private personal use, requires consent of parents or guardians whose children may be included in the image. Roll call, Mr. Karen Bishop Johnson, please.
Mrs. Agliaro? Here. Mrs. Amadeo?
Here.
Mr. Frage is currently absent. Mr. Gonzalez?
Here.
Mrs. Harvey? Here. Mr. Ingracia?
Here.
Mrs. Jewett?
Here.
Mrs. Santos? Here. Dr. Vinces Kua?
Here.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to have a presentation from Legacy Construction Management, Inc., Mr. Connor O'Brien of Construction Project Executive.
You can take it off if you're too.
That's okay. Just let me know if you can hear me. Good evening. For the people who do not know me, my name is Connor O'Brien, Project Executive and one of the principals with Legacy Construction Management. I'm here tonight to give you an update on the referendum and the upcoming projects for this summer. You can go to the next slide. So far, here's a list of some of the highlights of the completed projects. The faculty room upgrade that was completed. We also completed the window security film. Casework for Bayberry and Valley View. There is other casework that is coming up for some of the other summer projects, but we did do that for both schools. The Valley View music room upgrades. Exterior sidewalk and concrete repairs. About 85% of the IT upgrades, which was cameras, access controls, communication systems, and firewall. Some still are on the closing out, and I will be communicating with Aaron as those projects come nearing the end. We also were able to get through the required and known abatements for the projects that have been done, as well as the ones that are upcoming. What I put together here is just a schedule that is visually easy to follow, in my opinion. What this is showing is just updated for May of 2024. We currently are in the phase of the procurement, which is obtaining all the equipment, the material. Some material has been delivered to the site already and stored on site trailers. But that's in the stage that we currently are in. Coming in June, once school lets out, we'll start the construction. That will go from June, July, and August with full-on construction. And then shown in the gray there is what we call the closeout phase, which is punch list, any open items that we need to get closed out, as well as the documentation for warranty and closeout specifications and stuff of that nature. The Bayberry Valley View HVAC that shows it goes back into procurement, that's for the chiller. The chillers have a very long lead time, so we actually will not be 100% complete, but the stuff that we do this summer, we will get that closeout documentation done. So that's why it shows it go transitioning back. Throughout June and July, procurement still does continue as we're getting material, but we will be in construction, so that's why it just shows the construction phase. The outdoor learning commons, as well as the softball field, Tentatively, that's a move-in target with the schedule right now, but we will look to set up some meetings and have conversations with the administration on the next steps with that in the early fall. So that is potential to move the start of the design there, and that is anticipated next summer to do work for that. For this summer 2024 projects, just give an update where we're at. This is for the HVAC upgrades, the toilet room upgrades, media center renovation, the front office renovation, and the man trap in Valley View here. We're going to have another on-site coordination meeting right before the construction starts, make sure everybody's on the same page, and there's nothing that needs to be re-coordinated. Contractors continue to come to the site and survey after hours. That's coordinated with myself and Ricky, as well as the contractors. We do have started getting material deliveries. They'll continue throughout the summer, as I just mentioned. We will mobilize all construction activities for your next board meeting. Dumpster deliveries, they'll get scheduled. We're working on obtaining all the permits, and the construction will commence on 6/17 of 2024. So a little bit more details about the HVAC upgrades that will be happening in Valley View and Bayberry. There's going to be unit vents replacements, rooftop replacement, energy recovery ventilators, exhaust fans throughout, and as I mentioned, the chillers. The reason it's there, the chillers won't be there, but there will be some setup and coordination in preparation for when they do arrive. The new units will be integrated into the existing BMS system. There'll be coordination with the vendor that's already on site and you guys have a service contract with. There'll be rooftop ductwork that gets installed and insulated. We are also, the school, engaged in a direct install program for 2 rooftop units here at Valley View. That's been confirmed that equipment is expected to arrive next month. It will be installed as well this summer. Sorry. And the one last thing that was on the slide there before it went. So prior to the kids and students getting back and teachers, the fresh air system for the HVAC will be made sure it's active, so there won't be an issue with kids coming into the building and not having the fresh air system going. The control work that goes into that, there's always a slight lag behind from when the control work gets fully implemented into the system that Ricky and Aaron can get access to, but they will be functioning to be able to be safe into the classrooms. The Bayberry toilet room upgrades, secure vestibule transaction window, and the casework. So there's select classrooms that are going to have toilet room upgrades with new floors, ceiling replacement in those toilet rooms, and in those select classrooms that did not already have it done, we'll also have casework. We did throughout winter and February and January have meetings set with teachers and the architect to go over some of the needs and stuff for that casework. So that has been done and it is ordered, so that will be here for the summer. There'll be a new security transaction window put into the office area. There'll be multiple walls that get painted in select rooms as well as the corridors. And again, the substantial completion for that is set per the contract prior to the school starting. Again, the closeout punch list stuff will carry potentially into the school year, but all that work will be scheduled after hours so that doesn't impact the school function. The Valley View art room, main office, as well as the media center. So the art room is going to get reconfigured for the use of the space. There is HVAC upgrades in that contract, separate from the HVAC contract we just spoke about. They'll have ceiling upgrades. There'll be exposed portions of the ceiling as well as acoustical ceiling tiles. The floor is going to get replaced. There'll be new casework, and there's also plumbing upgrades with the sinks. For the media center, again, that space will be reconfigured as well as have HVAC upgrades, ceiling upgrades. That's going to have ceiling tiles as well as a acoustic ceiling board, different from the other areas. That's just, again, for the acoustical use of that space. Floor will be replaced, casework, and I don't think the plumbing upgrade is supposed to be there. Might have been a copy. The main office, the reconfigure of the space and the use of it. There'll be ceiling upgrades as well as exposed and ceiling tiles. Floor will be replaced, the casework, and again, at the front entrance there, that is getting redone to be a more secure man-trap entrance. And then the plan is, as of right now, I will do another presentation in July, and then as well as in the early fall. August? Okay, it'll be in August, and then sometime in the fall. That's what I have for the presentation.
Thanks, Connor. We have no board meeting in July because we closed our building.
Okay, I will be here in July.
I know you
Working.
will be.
You guys will not be here. Any questions or anything?
Connor, is there any, I'm not privy to the specifications, but we're going to be demoing a lot of HVAC equipment, dozens of univentilators and the rooftop, some rooftop equipment chillers. Is there anything in the specification, or you know what the recycle, scrap, disposal plan is for all that equipment?
A lot of times, more times than not, the contractor will scrap those. They'll engage in a scrapper. It's a huge cost to throw those in and it's a waste to throw them in the landfill.
Yeah.
So I have not seen it where it goes there. Maybe a piece of pipe or something that gets part of the demo might get thrown, but there's money in scrapping that.
Yeah. So it's at their determination what to do with it after.
Correct. I mean, technically they're supposed to, scrap and recycle materials that can be recycled, but we will be huge waste and a huge cost to them that's out of their pocket to throw it in regular dumpsters. So I don't foresee that being something they would engage in, but we can follow up.
Thank you. I'd just like to commend our Ricky and his staff, because I understand from a previous meeting that we went through the entire winter without a single complaint from a parent or staff on the temperature controls of our classrooms and building space. So I do commend Ricky for that. I think he was able to purchase some control equipment. I think it was under $100,000 or maybe quite a bit less than that, and seemed to fix all the problems that we had heard about from people in our meetings and otherwise. So unfortunately, we're going to be ripping all that equipment out and replacing it with $6 million worth of new equipment. But I do commend Ricky that we got through the entire winter without a single temperature complaint being brought, not just to the board, but to the administration as well, from what I understand. So thank you to our team.
That's just your personal opinion, right, Mr. Ingracia?
No, I asked in a committee meeting.
No, I understand that, but
administration.
your personal opinion as to that we're wasting money on
didn't say that.
replacing everything.
Now I think
That's
you're
what
putting words
you're
in my
saying.
mouth.
No, that's what you said. It's a shame that we're going to be replacing everything since everything's just been miraculously fixed.
Well, I'd like to give credit where credit is due. There was we got through the entire winter without a single complaint to our board, whereas we had quite a few in previous years, and we had our administration report that there was no complaints made to the administration for the entire winter. So I think that's commendable.
It is commendable, but it doesn't mean that things don't have to be replaced, because you can't keep putting Band-Aids on things and expecting them to work.
Okay, I guess that's
So
your
thanks a lot.
opinion. Thank you. $6 million.
Moving along, guys.
Regardless of the $6 million, they're at the end of their lifespan. Like, yes, they may be functioning, but what's the point in being reactive versus proactive?
Look, I'm not looking to review the entire history of the referendum. I just wanted to share I think it was pretty impressive with really just replacing a few small spare parts that Ricky was able to get our district through an entire winter without a single complaint.
We got lucky. Thank you, Mr. O'Brien.
I would like to just add a couple of notes that was beyond the presentation. During the construction of this summer, the school will be shut down to allow as much construction work to happen without any sort of coordination with anybody use of the building. So that has been coordinated. And yeah, I'll be providing an update that will be shared out to the public, not actually coming to give a meeting in July. So I did want to clarify that. So, and what else do we have? And I will also be putting together communications that could be shared with the neighbors as far as the construction and what's happening, so they're aware. It will be noisy. There'll be a lot of deliveries and trucks, so that it could be shared with them, so they're hopefully will minimize any issues from their side.
Thank you.
And that's it.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good night.
Amen. You too.
You too. Okay, at this time, we're going to move into an executive session, whereas the Open Public Meetings Act and JSA 10:4/11 permits the Board of Education to meet in a closed session to discuss certain matters. Now, therefore, be it a matter rendered confidential by federal or state law, student matters. We shall return.
Wanna Motion to leave.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion? Okay, we shall go. I gotta get my phone from Okay, at this time, we're going to move into principal reports from our Bayberry Elementary School. Ms. Kirshner.
Good evening, Denise Victor, Principal, Bayberry. I'm actually doing both principal reports tonight. I'll start off. Our second graders performed their play, Wing It, during the week of April 24th. Students did a great job singing, dancing, and acting with the guidance of Mrs. Riley and their second grade teachers. On May 2nd, we attended the Governor's Educator ESP of the Year breakfast. We were thrilled to celebrate the contributions of our Somerset County recipients, especially our Watchung staff. Congratulations to Valley View's Educator of the Year, Nora Morrison, and Educational Support Professional, Dan Rongo, and to Bayberry's Educator of the Year, Melissa Bianca, and Educational Support Professional, Laura Cuomo. It was a really nice breakfast and a nice honor for them as well. Teacher Appreciation Week was the week of May 6th. Thank you to our PTO and everyone who took the time to express their gratitude to our staff. It was greatly appreciated. Valley View Middle School opened its doors for its annual Treps Marketplace on May 8th, 2024. The event showcased 20 students working individually or as partners selling homemade products such as cake pops, phone chains, Mother's Day cards, and virtual reality headsets. The Treps Club, sponsored by the Watchung Borough Youth Services Commission, started meeting in February. Students began their journey learning about the skills needed to start their businesses. Meetings included weekly interactive workshops incorporating product development, business, finance, advertising, marketing, and sales. The workshop guidance and the support of peers and family allowed entrepreneurs to apply what they had learned and build their businesses. Treps participants donated 10% of their total profits to a charity to be selected by the Treps Club. The entrepreneurs are already planning their products and services for next year. We welcomed our new kindergarten students and their families for visitation on May 9th. Students were engaged in play-based activities while their parents attended an information session with me to learn more about Bayberry. Excuse me. Our 4th to 8th graders completed NJSLA testing last week. Makeups will take place until May 31st. The 3rd and 4th Glee Club performed the national anthem at the Somerset Patriots game on Friday, May 17th. Afterwards, students enjoyed the game with their families and some of their teachers. Thank you to Mrs. Riley for planning this great opportunity for our students. Our preschool had their end-of-year celebration and performance on May 21st with parents proudly in attendance. Students sang a few special songs with Mrs. Riley and then watched a slideshow of photos from the school year. Thank you again to Mrs. Riley, the preschool teachers for their hard work and dedication. Kindergarten attended the Turtleback Zoo on May 22nd. It was a hot yet enjoyable day. Class trips are in full swing at Valley View. The 8th grade visited the Intrepid Air and Space Museum on May 20th. The 5th grade attended Liberty Science Center today. The 6th grade is scheduled to go to Patriots Stadium next week to culminate their baseball and statistics unit. Finally, the 7th graders will explore conservation and environmental concepts with hands-on activities at Duke Farms in Hillsborough on May 6th. I think that might be June 6th. May 6th has passed. Okay. Thank you to the PTO for helping fund and support all of these educational activities. The 8th grade commencement ceremony is scheduled for June 12th at 6 p.m. in the Valley View Gymnasium. And finally, the last weeks are packed with exciting and engaging activities. We are looking forward to a strong finish to the school year. Thank you, have a good night, and a great long weekend. Thank you.
Thanks, Denise.
Thank you.
Just gonna go? Let me just.
Yep.
So, good evening. Denise talked about a lot of things, but you would be amazed that there were even more events than that. I feel like between all of us, we can't even make it to all. So we started off our time since the last board meeting. Oh, Aaron, if you could do the slideshow, sorry. I do try and show your children, so enjoy it. We started off our time since the last board meeting with our Red Walk for Autism Awareness. And individually, you can keep flipping through. Individually, all of our Bayberry students contributed to a display of actions that they can make and take to help with acceptance. That bulletin board was just beautiful, and I think there's an up-close shot next. There you go, with some of the things that they can do to take action for acceptance. The Watchung Garden Club, including our former Board of Education member Gail O'Donnell, the township represented by Councilwoman Sonia Abi Habib, and our fabulous DPW workers worked with our Bayberry Garden Club students to plant a tree for Arbor Day. It's right out in the front of Bayberry, if you're standing off to the right towards the parking lot. They did a great job and they had a lot of fun. As Denise said, Mrs. Riley did an amazing job once again. These are some pictures from the second grade play. I love going to these things. It's really so much fun. The kids are terrific. The content's tied to the curriculum. I love it. So this one, Denise told you, is called Wing It. I loved it. They were telling me about ornithology. They also had an assembly with raptors tied to it. It was pretty great. There's your owls, but it was a lot of fun. I loved it. We celebrated Teacher and Staff Appreciation Week. This is at Bayberry, but it was also at Valley View, the first week in May. I also just want to echo the thank yous to the PTO, to our own Board of Education, our principals, the students, for celebrating our wonderful teachers. We also are so fortunate to have amazing paraprofessionals, counselors, librarians, nurses, therapists, and child study team members to support student learning, as well as our leadership team. We appreciate you not just that first week in May, but I promise every day. Thank you. The pictures you're seeing there, I am with one of the virtual reader things. The pictures you're just seeing are from the Treps Marketplace at the middle school, also a ton of fun. Our student entrepreneurs presented the most amazing, lovely, innovative products. Denise shared that this program is funded by the Youth Services Commission. The representative from the county was in one of those first pictures, and I'm grateful that they not only fund the program, but they take the time to come and meet with the students and ask about their projects. The next pictures are from our Bayberry Art Show and Glee Club presentation, and I'm just going to tell you, it blew me away. The depth of artists for inspiration, the variety of art created, I mean, you can see this. It is beautiful. I have to acknowledge art teacher Katie Higgins for the tremendous effort of including every child pre-K to 4. There's going to be a picture coming up I want to highlight of her. There she is at the top. She is painting a new mural that we're having at the front of Bayberry, a welcome mural in American Sign Language. When it's done, you'll see at the top it spells welcome, and at the bottom, each of the hands are going to have a different, is it a flag, Denise?
Say thank you to Ms. Higgins. She did an excellent job. I knew
Amazing.
you were going to talk about it. They're going to be holding a piece of paper with the word welcome in different languages.
I knew it was something.
Yes. So we try to represent the different cultures at Bayberry.
But it's going to be beautiful. She's very, very talented. Thanks, Erin. On May 6th, I attended the FinTech Techies Spring Graduation and Showcase at Fiserv. This is an amazing program for our middle school students and students from Berkeley Heights. They get hands-on, authentic experience with coding and robotics. That's our STEAM teacher, Morgan Landolfi. She also teaches in the program. I think you would just be amazed and so proud of what these students accomplished. This group of young women came up with an app that was fabulous. It was a lot of fun. It was based on the idea of a dating app, but it's how you find a tutor to help you with your classes. It was just brilliant. And then the next are two of our students. That drone is actually a pharma drone. It is able to deliver medical supplies in areas where people can't access them, or medicines to people that are not able to leave their home. It was really interesting. Yep. And now I'm up to Friday night already. You wouldn't believe how many things are happening in the district. This was our Night of Stars here at Valley View, also terrific artwork. Thank you to Miss Nestor. And we were able to attend all of the different grade level concerts. Mrs. Morrison led each band. Everything was great. I know that I especially loved the stomp set. I think there's a picture of that somewhere. There you go. It was just amazing to see. The kids did a tremendous job. And again, thank you, Mrs. Morrison, for making sure that all of our musicians are included. You can stick there for a minute, Aaron. On Monday night, there's no picture of this one because it was an online information session. But on Monday night, we had an online information session related to the grant we got with the high school for a feasibility study on regionalization. There is now a regionalization committee tab on the district website where you can find information on the grant and the study. This meeting was recorded, and as soon as I get a link, that will also be on that tab. So anybody that is interested can see, and there are even people that you can contact with additional questions. This picture, you see Mayor Jubin up there, is from our 5th grade DARE graduation on Wednesday morning. Thanks to the Watchung PD, always to our own officer, Pete Cuevos, for organizing our DARE program. And again, for Mayor Jubin, making the time to attend is one thing, but actually modeling for our students the importance of this program. They brought the DARE bear. I think he's a bear, might be a tiger, I'm not sure. But they brought him, and the kids really enjoyed taking pictures with the DARE guy. There he is. And Officer Pete, always. We love Officer Pete. So that was wonderful. And then after school today, it's hard to see, but that young lady's headband is made out of all bottle caps, and her entire outfit, the skirt's a trash bag, but the entire outfit is upcycled. This was part of our trash and show today. Our designers and their models presented outfits completely created with recycled and upcycled materials. The people who designed the outfits, as well as their models, had to appear before a panel of judges, describe their designs and materials. You can keep going. It was so impressive. I have to say, come to the next picture, Aaron. That one, beautiful with the train. And then the next, these two young ladies. The fan is made out of a book, the skirt, newspaper, I don't know if you can see, but there's chopsticks, all kinds of recycled sparkles. And the other young lady's skirt is completely made out of chip bags, total chip bags. It was, again, incredible to me. Recycling's a required component of our New Jersey science standards. And I have to say, I am just so impressed by the authentic instruction that happens here, the problem-based learning that makes this meaningful to our students, right? So that's the last slide. But next Wednesday, May 29th, 6 o'clock, right here in the same APR here at Valley View, we'll be having our second transportation town hall. I'll be joined on the panel with Karen Bishop Johnson, our BA, as well as Tim Sties, the BA from the high school. This session will also be live streamed, and we will be talking about the transportation contract we'll be approving tonight with the new components based on what we learned this year, as well as talking about our K-12 transportation initiatives and the things that we're going to be doing differently in the district for the new school year. Please be reminded that the district is closed for students tomorrow, May 24th, and Monday, May 27th, for the Memorial Day weekend. I know everybody's excited to kick off summer and to have some relaxing time, but please remember Memorial Day is a day where we honor those people who served and gave their lives. Thank you. Karen?
The business office, like usual, is busy. Not sure when that ever stops. But we have opened the 24-25 school year in our systems, which is a big accomplishment. With June 13th being our last day, payroll is having a very challenging time because per the contract, we actually have 2 paychecks due on the same day on June 13th. So we are trying to deal with that challenge and get everybody paid appropriately. And that is mainly, I think that's pretty much it. Payroll, purchasing, we're trying to wrap up. We're starting to go through open purchase orders to see if the items are coming, not coming, close ones that we don't need, and starting to take orders in for the 25 year. A little bit of push on the orders. We're worried a little bit about the deliveries this summer and that the teachers need to start their September day with their supplies. So we are cranking in there. That's it from me.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to committee reports. Personnel Committee, Mr. Frage.
The Personnel Committee met on Thursday, May 16th at 5:30. It was a virtual meeting. In attendance were myself, Jen, Anthony, and Dr. Glazer. We discussed the ESY Shared Services Agreement, and we received staffing recommendations, but because it was so close to this meeting, we couldn't add it onto this agenda, so it should be on the next one. We discussed a new teacher appointment, a revision step, unpaid absences, a leave replacement, and the approval of a substitute. As for new business, we just discussed the board retreat, the regionalization committee, which we'll get into once we actually hit that point. The transportation town hall, which Dr. Glazer already mentioned. We discussed a little bit about the 12-month calendar, which should be done relatively soon.
It's on there for approval tonight.
Sorry, it's already done. And yeah.
Thank you. Curriculum Committee, Mr. Webb.
Yes. Yes, we met on Thursday, May 16th, and it was virtual from 4 o'clock to about 5:25 we finished. And the administration that was there, Dr. Glazer was there, our principal from Bayberry School, Denise Fickner, principal from Valley View, Karen Kidd was there, and our STEAM teacher, Morgan Landolfi, was there. Committee members, Vice President, Board of Ed, Mohammed Frige, myself, Fatima Santos, and Dory Harvey. Okay, items on from the administration. We had the EF student tour, their educational tours, and Valley View STEAM teacher, Morgan Landolfi, began our discussion about the EF student tours and the options they provide. The Belize Ridge to Reef tour was chosen by Valley View administrators for its proximity to home and the focus on STEAM subjects that our students are studying at Valley View. The tour combines engineering, science, and the culture of Belize. All liability rests with EF Tours. Tours are funded by families of students with suggested activities to fundraise. The trip will be in July 2025, and recruiting will begin shortly. There's going to be an info session on June 5th to be considered for this opportunity. And let's see, and you have to check Valley View website for that. Bayberry Classroom Learning Gardens. Bayberry School has 2 outdoor areas that were once used as outdoor classrooms and learning gardens. A 3rd grade teacher would like to restore these areas. We are presently in the project's exploratory phase. It is a large undertaking and needs to be well organized. Water and maintenance are important aspects to its success. The Watchung Garden Club, our Department of Public Works, and Town Council members are available to assist with this project. All right, the ESY Shared Services Agreement with Long Hill Township has been finalized. Watchung and Long Hill have determined it's in the best interest of both districts to share the cost of services and facilities. Each school will provide its own teachers, and the program will run for 20 days from June 26th to July 24th, Monday through Friday, from 9 a.m. to 1. School is closed for the 4th of July. The Millington School in Long Hill will host one staff orientation day and a parent night before students begin the program. Okay, our principals have scheduled field day activities for a day of fun and games at Bayberry and Valley View schools. Our PTO will provide ice pops for all participants. Our board retreat needs to be changed from the original date of 6/20 to June 10th from 5 to 7:30. Our superintendent will provide the board with a doodle to indicate when all are available, and I think this, the June 10th is the one that we all agreed on, right? We're good. Okay. The NJSBA representative will review the board of self-assessment and will facilitate the development of the board and district goals for 2024-25 at this meeting. We spoke about the regionalization committee and the transportation town hall and the 12-month calendar. Dr. Glazer asked the committee if they were in favor of closing the schools on certain days for all employees due to the lack of employees in the buildings during these days. The committee was in favor of closing the schools on the days suggested. This will have no impact on teaching staff or students and will save on heat, electricity, and other costs that are needed to keep the schools open. I think that's it.
Thank you, Ms. Fresh. Now we're going to move on to Policy Committee. Ms. Harvey?
Sure. The Policy Committee met on Wednesday, May 15th, from about 6 p.m. to 9:08 p.m. It was virtual. In attendance was Dr. Glazer, Mr. Gonzalez, myself, Ms. Amadeo, and Ms. Chouette. The committee went over the following agenda items: bylaw 0143, board member election and appointment. The committee discussed feedback given to us from Mr. Ingracia and Ms. Aguilera. The committee members gave suggestions as well. The committee agreed not to include some recommendations provided since they are for the process and should not be included in the bylaw since bylaws don't have regulations. The committee requested more time to consider taking out the language in the existing bylaw to interview an executive session, appointing a replacement to a vacancy without interviewing candidates, and adding that the board needs to meet to decide what process the board will follow when filling a board vacancy. The committee asked to revisit this bylaw over the summer months. The committee chair will follow up with the board's NJSBA field representative to just clarify some of the items being considered for addition or deletion from the existing bylaw. And this is not currently recommended for a first reading. Then we reviewed policy 1140, educational equity policies, affirmative action. Dr. Glazer reminded the committee that she provides updates to the community regarding staff professional development in her superintendent remarks. Dr. Glazer will work on ensuring that staff hired mid-school year receive the proper professional development within the policy's required time frame. This policy is on for first reading. Then there's policy 1523, comprehensive equity plan. Dr. Glazer recommended that the committee hold off on reviewing this policy since the NJDOE will shortly provide updates. This policy will be reviewed possibly at the next committee meeting, we're thinking, if they make the updates by then. If not, it'll be at a subsequent meeting. This is not currently up for a first reading. And then we had policy and regulation 1530, equal employment opportunities. The committee agreed to update the policy language, and this policy is on for a first reading. The same thing for 1550, equal employment / anti-discrimination practices. We agreed to the language. It's on the agenda. Policy 2200, curriculum content. The committee agreed to remove the secondary school information from the policy since it doesn't pertain to our district. Dr. Glazer will find out which option the principals recommend and email the committee with their preference. This policy is on for a first reading, which...
It's not.
Oh, it's not? You didn't...
Have the answer.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Policy and regulation 2260, equity in school and classroom practices. We agreed to the language. It's on the agenda for a first reading. Policy and Regulation 2425, Emergency Virtual/Remote Instruction Program. Dr. Glazer discussed how to keep the remote instruction technology up to date and relevant for the staff so they can easily transition to remote instruction during a state of emergency. This policy is up for a first reading. Policy and Regulation 2440, summer session. This is not a mandated policy and regulation, so the committee agreed not to adopt them at this time. It is recommended that if the superintendent and principals want to develop summer enrichment programs, the committee would then revisit the policy. If the administration proposes conducting summer programs in the district, they will need to hire staff for the summer program, and those positions would need to be budgeted. This is not currently recommended for a first reading. Regulation 2460.9, special education, transition from early intervention programs to preschool programs. We agreed to the language, and the policy is up for a first reading. Regulation 2460.16, special education instructional material to blind or print disabled students. The committee agreed to the language. It's up for a first reading, and the same for policy 3161, examination for cause. So potential board agenda items, there's a couple of policies that are on the agenda for a second reading. None of the committee members received feedback from other board members, and no one had any questions or concerns about the second reading. Under the new business, a lot of this was already discussed. We did review the petition. The committee received an update. The board authorized a special counsel to answer Mr. Ingracia's petition against the Board of Education, and the committee was informed that Mr. Ingracia filed an amendment to his petition, which was placed in the board packet for all the board members to review. As this progresses, more updates will be provided to the committee. And then I don't think anybody went over the CSA evaluation. The committee explained the previous regular superintendent's evaluation process and acknowledged that the board agreed to follow a modified process at the board retreat at the beginning of the year. The agreed upon modified process eliminates evaluating the superintendent on leadership standards. Since the superintendent had not worked in the district for an entire year, the committee reviewed the modified CSA evaluation process and awaits further directions from board leadership. And I believe everything else was covered.
Thank you. Now we're going to move on to Operations and Finance. Mr. Frazier.
The Operations and Finance Committee met on May 14th at 5:10 p.m. First, we discussed a referendum update, which was just us talking about Connor coming in and giving the presentation that he just gave. We also recently had 2 storage containers of equipment dropped off here, which is good that we're starting to have equipment coming in. We also noted that there was an issue with the software of the fire alarm system. Again, there is no actual issue with the fire alarms. Like if there is a fire, they will go off. The only issue was us connecting a new device to the fire alarm panel, which we need to do for the referendum. It won't necessarily affect in terms of like speed or anything. It won't affect how it's done, but we do have to work that out before we can, continue and install those fire alarms. We also discussed the outdoor learning commons and field, which has as of right now, a $936,000 combined estimated budget, with the field costing $485,000 and the outdoor learning commons costing $451,000. And the estimated amount left after completion will be around $1.2 million. The project plan and revised referendum budget has been posted on the website. And like Connor said, we will be communicating with all the neighbors to let them know about the projects. There will also be a timeline review with the principals, custodians, et cetera, all affected staff at the end of May, just because we have to close down the buildings. We're still also working on deciding which furniture we want. I believe it's for the media center.
And the art room.
And the art room.
Got that done yesterday.
Great. So we have that done. As for the roof results, we did an insulation test just to see if there were any issues with leaks. A part of the roof just needs to have the drains fixed, which is an estimated $5,000 to fix and replace the leaking drains. Or sorry, that's just $5,000 to fix it, and then we're still working on the cost of actually replacing it. We don't expect it to be too much, but there's a chance that we might just replace it instead of fixing it. We did an infrared and nuclear test to test for moisture content. That cost $2,800. And since it came so far under estimate, we're planning on rechecking the moisture in the spring. If the moisture content comes above 27%, which is its current standing, we will look into roof replacement of that area. As for board agenda items, we just discussed the sale and disposal of unwanted items in the art room. An addendum for ESS, which the contract allows the school district to increase wages for employees, which could actually end up costing us less. We discussed the transportation agreement with Watchung Hills at 4%, which is lower than the estimated 5.7. The SY agreement has been completed, which is now on the agenda to be approved. The professional service provider's contract must be reappointed, which is also on the agenda. We discussed the amendment to the cafeteria plan, which will adjust to a regular IRS year. And this is an employee benefit plan. This is not a food plan. The OOD special services contract is on the agenda. There is an authorization to make payments during the summer for referendum projects, and we also discussed pay applications. As for other items, we discussed the regionalization committee, which again I will discuss shortly. The board retreat is tentatively scheduled for June 20th since the APR is closed. We will be attempting to find another public location. Date?
Here, June 10th.
10th.
Oh yeah,
June 10th.
sorry, we switched it to June 10th, so we're going to be doing it here. We also discussed the transportation town hall. Yeah, which is on the 29th. Let's see. And then we also discussed the 12-month calendar.
What time did you start and did you end the meeting?
We began at 5:10. We ended at 9:20 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. Frazier. Okay, board liaison reports. Mr. Frazier again, legislative liaison. Oh, right.
I'll keep it short. I have a much longer version, but I'll abbreviate it for you guys because you guys can look it up anyway. On Tuesday, May 14th, Governor Phil Murphy approved legislation that will restore a portion of the school aid cuts some school districts will experience under the fiscal year of 2025 state budget proposal. It will also grant property tax levy cap flexibility to districts that have witnessed an overall decline in state aid in recent budget cycles. The bills were sent to his desk by the legislature the day before, and the governor also signed legislation that will permit districts to submit their budgets after the state approves the fiscal year 2025 Appropriations Act. You guys can look those up. And then on Friday, May 17th, Governor Phil Murphy signed another bill into law, Evaluation Review Task Force. This establishes the New Jersey Educator Evaluation Review Task Force to study and evaluate the educator evaluation system established pursuant to the Teach NJ Act and implemented in New Jersey public schools. So if you guys want to read up on that, you can.
Thank you. Okay, Somerset County Board of Education Services liaison, Ms. Harvey.
Oh, I have no update. We don't have a meeting until June.
Thank you. Ms. Amadeo, Somerset County Somerset County School Boards Association liaison.
No update today.
Okay. Ms. Agugliaro.
No update today, just everybody needs to think about the workshop that's coming up in October and whether or not they'd like to attend.
Okay. And regionalization.
So there isn't really much of an update since the last meeting that we had where I explained everything, but I did want to specify, again, this is a feasibility study. We are only testing to see how well it would work, if it would end up saving us money. And all of this is provided by a grant from the government, so we're not actually paying for everything. We're getting a demographic study, which is great because we don't have to pay for it. And we had the meeting on May 20th, which I think Dr. Glazer already mentioned, but you can watch that meeting if you have any questions as well.
Thank you. All right, seeing that there's no PTO, WEF, or CPAG here, we're going to move on to comments from the public. On agenda items only, we welcome input from the public. There are 2 times during the meeting when the public is invited to speak. The first opportunity to the comments on the agenda items only is now. The second opportunity for the public is towards the end of the meeting. Total allotted time for public comments is 30 minutes. Before you make your comment, please state your name and municipality of residence. In the event it appears the public comment portion of the meeting may exceed 30 minutes, the presiding officer may limit each statement made in participant to 3-minute duration. Our public forums are not structured as question and answers session, but rather are offered as opportunities to share input with the board in instances where the board feels the response is needed. The presiding officer or superintendent will address the comment. The New Jersey statute does not permit the board to discuss personnel or hiring in public session. Names of students should not be used. Members of the public should consider their comments in light of legal rights for those affected and identified in their comments, and be aware that they are personally legally responsible with potential liability for comments that they make to the board. The board shall not be held liable for comments made by members of the public. Seeing that there's no members of the public with comments, we're going to move on to action items. Mr. Guevara, can you move the action item for us?
Okay, I move administrative items. 1, approve minutes of previous meetings. 2, affirm the superintendent's HIB report. 3, approve the 12-month employee calendar. 4, accept Bayberry and Valley View school security drill reports. 5, approve special education placements.
Thank you.
Second.
Dr. Vinces Kua?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Discussion? No?
Only to the extent that for item number 1, I'd like to, when we do take the vote, separate in some way the approval of the regular meeting minutes and the executive meeting minutes, but that can just be handled in my course of voting, I think, right?
Yes.
I'll break it down
can
in
note
my,
that.
thank you.
Okay, roll call.
Okay, Dr. Vinces Kua?
Yes.
Mrs. Santos?
Yes.
Mrs. Jewett?
Yes.
Mr. Ingracia?
For administrative item number 1, approve the minutes of the previous minutes. Like I had mentioned, I would like to vote yes to approve the regular meeting minutes, noted the 3 dates in April. For the executive meeting minutes, I would like to vote yes for the February 22nd, 2024, yes for the March 18th, 2024, no for the April 8th, 2024, abstain for the April 23rd, 2004, so I'd recused myself, and April 25th, no, April 25th, 2024, yes for item number 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Sorry. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yes.
Yes.
All right. I think I got that. Mrs. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Frage?
Yes.
Mrs. Amadeo?
Yes.
Mrs. Igliaro?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Mr. Negracia, can you please move personnel items?
Sure. I move personnel 1, approve B1, approve appointed certificated staff. 2, approve appointment certificated staff. 3, approve change of assignment. 4, approve unpaid absences. 5, approve appointment long-term substitute. 6, approve appointment district substitute teacher.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Okay. Mr. Frage,
Yes.
Mrs. Harvey,
Yes.
Mr. Ingracia,
Yes.
Mrs. Jewett,
Yes.
Mrs. Santos,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mrs. Amadeo,
Yes.
Mrs. Agliaro,
Yes.
Dr. Vinces Kua,
Yes.
and that was everybody, right? Motion passes.
Okay, Mr. Frazier, Operations and Finance.
I make a motion to move operation item 1, approve payment of bill. 2, approve transfer of funds 2023-2024. 3, accept financial reports. 4, approve payment application. 5, approve payment application. 6, approve professional development / school business and related expenses. 7, approve transportation jointure with Watchung Hills Regional High School. 8, approve ESY shared services agreement. 9, approve amendment to the cafeteria plan 2024, section 125 of the flexible spending account. 10, approve legal services agreement with the special conflicts and counsel. 11, appoint professional service providers. 12, also approve special education providers. 13, approve appointment district treasurer. 14, approve audit engagement letter. And 15, accept donation. And 16, approve pre-K tuition rate.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'd just like to thank the PTO for the Scholastic Bucks. That's a large donation and a lot of books, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Roll call, please. Yes.
Okay. Mrs. Amadeo,
Yes.
Mrs. Agliaro,
Yes.
Mr. Frage,
Yes.
Mr. Ingracia,
Item C1, yes, and C2, yes. 3, accept financial reports, no. 4, yes. 5, yes. C6, yes. 7, yes. 8, yes. 9, yes. 10, approve legal services agreement, no. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16, yes.
Mrs. Jewett,
I'm okay with all, but I'm going to abstain on number 3. I just didn't feel like I knew enough about it, so I'm just going to abstain on that one.
And what is number 3?
Number 3 was accept financial reports. A, B, C, D.
I'm sorry, are you saying no or are you abstaining? Sorry.
Abstaining.
Abstaining, okay. Okay. Mrs. Santos?
Yes.
Dr. Vinces Kua?
Yes.
Mrs. Agliaro?
Yes.
Mrs. Amadeo?
Yes.
Mr. Frage?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
No, if you got me, but
Mrs.
my
Harvey.
response is yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay, curriculum. Ms. Jewett, if you can please move curriculum items.
Whoa. Gotta find them. Okay. I got them right here. Okay. Curriculum items. Okay, number 1, adopt program and curriculum. Number 2, adopt K-8 district textbooks. Number 3, adopt evaluation instrument for certified staff. Number 4, adopt evaluation platform for certified staff and administrators. The next is policy. That's 4 things.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Agliaro?
Yes.
Mr. Frage?
Yes.
Mrs. Harvey?
Yes.
Mrs. Jewett?
Yes.
Mrs. Santos?
Yes.
Mr. Ingracia?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mrs. Amadeo?
Yes.
Dr. Vinces Kua?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Ms. Amadeo, can you please move policy items?
I move E1, these policies for first reading. P1140, educational equity. P1530, equal employment opportunities. R1530, equal employment opportunity complaint procedure. P1550, Equal Employment Anti-Discrimination Practices. R1550, Equal Employment Anti-Discrimination Practices. P2260, Equity in School and Classroom Practices. R2260, the same, Equity in School and Classroom Practices Complaint Procedure. P2425, Emergency Virtual or Remote Instruction Program. R2425, Emergency Virtual or Remote Instructions Program. R2460.9, Special Education, Transition from Early Intervention Programs to Preschool Programs. R2460.16, Special Education, Instructional Material to Blind or Print Disabled Students. And E2 second reading, Bylaw 0169, board member use of electronic mail, internet. Bylaw 0169.02, board member use of social networks. P5512, harassment, intimidation, or bullying. P8461, reporting violence, vandalism, harassment, intimidation, bullying, alcohol or other drug offenses. R8420, emergency and crisis situations. R2419, school threat assessment teams.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Santos?
Yes.
Dr. Vinces Kua?
Yes.
Mrs. Jewett?
Yes.
Mrs. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Ingracia?
Yes.
Mr. Frage?
Yes.
Mrs. Amadeo?
Yes.
Mrs. Aguilera?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, any board business?
Yes, I do. Can I say something now?
Yes.
Okay.
Why not?
I just want to make sure this is the right time. I know all these procedures. Okay. I just want to address the ethics violation vote regarding Anthony at our last board meeting on April 25th. After a thoughtful reflection, I asked if I could rescind my vote and was told that cannot be done. That's fine. I learned that. It's my hope that the ethics charges have not yet been filed, and if they have, I think they should be withdrawn. I, too, needed more time to review the candidates' resumes. 1/2 hour wasn't enough for me. It may have been sufficient for some members who may have known some of the candidates, however, I didn't know anybody. I would like to read the letter I sent to our board president, for our members, and also for the people of Watchung to understand why I wanted to rescind my vote. And it won't take long. I know you want to go home, but I have to tell you this because it makes me feel better. All right. In reference to the resolution and authorizing of charges with the School Ethics Commission brought against Anthony Ingracia at our Board of Ed meeting on April 25th, I watched the meeting on our website to make sure I understood the intent and the content of the resolution, because it was only read to us by the board president, and I would have appreciated a written copy of the resolution before the meeting to fully understand its contents before I cast my vote. Even though I was not sure about the intent, I cast my vote in the affirmative late that evening. After returning home from the meeting and watching it again on our website, I came to fully understand the spirit and the intent of the resolution, and I realized it was not my position on this issue. I clearly support the right of our board members to have access to all background and application information as soon as it is cleared by the administration with no restrictions. I clearly cannot understand why any board member would want to be encumbered by any restrictions imposed on information that should only be reviewed by the board members themselves. In summary, I fully support a formal policy that would make this information available to all board members. I fully support Mr. Ingracia's petition to bring the resolution to this issue that would benefit all current and future board members. I do not want the attorney to pursue bringing ethics charges against Anthony. I want to rescind my vote. That was my letter. I wanted you to know, and I wanted the people of Watchung to know why I wanted to rescind it. So thank you.
Anything else?
You know, I don't know what any of us can actually say about any of those things without getting into legal issues. So I guess we're not going to discuss it further.
I think, can we say that the ethics charges aren't related to specifically the request for more time, right? There are other issues.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
Anything else?
I wanted to ask Dr. Glazer, having seen the presentation this morning from the contractor, and being a newer board member, would it be possible to schedule at some point maybe a walkthrough to see some of the changes that have been made or talk through some of the before-after?
So we are planning, as soon as we're done, I think you heard Connor say tonight, we're figuring everything that's on the summer and what's been completed should be done by October. We're hoping to do a big ribbon cutting, actually, not just a walkthrough. We want to invite everybody into the media center, library space, the art space. We will be having in the gym here at Valley View. By then, the floors will be redone. They'll have the new adventure course that WEF donated. So I expect that we're going to have more than a walkthrough. I hope it's a big community celebration, but that'll be in October.
Great.
The Valley View graduation, do you want to mention when that date is?
You can. Valley View 8th grade moving up ceremony is Wednesday, June 12th at 6 p.m.
Great. Okay, any comments from the public? Seeing that the public is not here, so we're going to move to the adjournment of this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Have a good night, everyone.